in different continents, we extend you a very hearty welcome. It's 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and that's on Sunday evening, 20th of September. So, ladies and gentlemen, hearty welcome to all of you. It's indeed a great pleasure. This is the third webinar what we are having today on Sunday. We started this morning with Srimad Bhagavad Gita and all the 10 principal Upanishad. That was the live telecast from the United States, from Burbank, California, Woodbury University, Professor Satinder Dhiman. And thereafter, 15 minutes before, we just finished India ASEAN webinar series that was focusing on northeast part of India and all the 10 countries what we have got in ASEAN: Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, and Vietnam. And we took almost 650 million population joining us live from there. And that was basically the partnership between India and ASEAN. And this is the third program on Sunday evening, which comes with under the dynamic and the dedicated leadership of Ravindra Nath ji, the former CMD of the NSIC, and that is under the aegis of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got two distinguished guests this evening. I will be introducing you in a little while. Before that, let me take through the journey. Today's 164th webinar, Making Education Relevant. Why to go to school? Why to go to college? What is the purpose of education? Why do we get skills? Why do we get competencies? What do we want to achieve out of this entire thing? And then, of course, there is a purpose. Either it's an economic, or it's a social, or it's cultural, or it's a personal purpose why children are taking education. Every child, and particularly these millennials, they are very smart, they're very creative, they are very innovative, they've got very bright ideas, and most of them, they want to share lots of innovation with all of us. So, during this pandemic, during this coronavirus, when people are having lots of difficulties, and particularly when we talk about the micro, small, and the medium enterprise, ladies and gentlemen, this is the third webinar today in the evening. And of course, in the series, couple of programs every Sunday at 7 p.m. we have done under the leadership of Ravindra Nath ji, and we bring you yet another very meaningful evening. Let me quickly roll over so that we all are on the common frequency and we understand what is the purpose of this program, who is bringing this program, why are we having this program. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to share, in 1994 in India, for the first time, the confluence of the non-resident Indians started in a structured way, and that was Punjabi Parvasi Divas. People, those have gone abroad to the different countries in the different continents for different reasons, those Punjabis were on the common platform together. And when we talk about Guru Gobind Singh Stadium in Jalandhar, in the state of Punjab in India, that was the confluence which started, and slowly and gradually the momentum was there. And in 2003, then the Prime Minister of India, late Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, gave the vision and the dimension Bharatiya Parvasi Divas. And with Punjabi Parvasi Divas started Bharatiya Parvasi Divas also. And then, of course, today you have got vibrant Gujarat, vibrant Karnataka, vibrant Telangana, vibrant Rajasthan, vibrant Andhra Pradesh, vibrant, I would say everything is vibrant in this country. So 30 million non-resident Indian plus at present, they're abroad in different countries and they're doing wonderful their own way. So this chamber, like you have in India, CII, FICCI, PhD House Chamber of Commerce, SOCHM, and a couple of other verticals, this chamber is dedicated purely to the services sector and only for the non-resident Indians confluence from the world over. Of course, with the support of a lot of Indian corporate, but that's the way. And our basic objective is from time to time to give a lot of policy framework, strategies, innovative strategies, dynamic strategies, futuristic strategies, and white paper, roadmap, action plan, whatever you want to talk it, that is with regard to service industry. And during this pandemic, we are focusing on education, making education relevant, and we are trying to reach out everybody. We all understand during this lockdown, thought processes are affected, business is affected, physical and mental health is affected. And the main part of the university is the education is deeply affected. 1.86 billion children from the world over, whether school, colleges, polytechnic, institutions, ITIs, and universities, they are away from their educational hubs. So when we talk about them, they need a hand holding and they need a lot of support. In India, we always believe in Vasudev Kutumbakam. One world, one love, and one family. That's the way, ladies and gentlemen, we got to take it. Heartiest congratulations to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Education Minister, everybody. That is Ravindra Nath ji, your mic is on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we convey our deep regards and thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister of India and to the Education Minister of India and the entire education fraternity. The new education policy which has been announced on 29th of July, that is something remarkable. The entire education ecosystem in India after 34 years is going to see the new life. Vocational studies are coming, internship is coming, coding is coming. There is no tight compartment between arts, commerce, and science. And Asha Bhosle ji, the great singer of India, she complimented the government of India the other day and she said, now the science student can also take a music. The commerce student can take a fashion designing. And that is the way the whole pedagogy and andragogy. Ladies and gentlemen, 149 countries, our chamber collected the research. And when we carried out the synthesis, we came to know the next misunderstanding and the crisis world over is going to be water crisis. That is consumable water crisis. And before it becomes and it takes a different shape world over, I think it's a time we all got to realize. And that's why every evening, the programs, what we are doing, we are making a humble appeal to the global fraternity. Let's save every drop of water. It is very, very important. We are having a journey Monday to Sunday. Yes, you rightly heard. It's not Monday to Friday, it's Monday to Sunday. Today is Sunday, 20th of September 2020. And on Sunday, we have got rather 3 programs, whereas Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have got only 1 program in the evening at 7 p.m. for the entire global community and the global fraternity and the ecosystem of the world. So ladies and gentlemen, what is the purpose? How to make education relevant and how all of us we can get together. This slide is the most important slide, which is the crux of this entire series, which I wish to share with all of you so that you understand what this program is, for whom it is, what is the purpose, why are we organizing, and what exactly is the take from here. Ladies and gentlemen, Monday to Thursday, we hold a program. When I'm talking about 7 to 8 p.m., Monday to Sunday, you have got a program. But Monday to Thursday, it is completely and purely on education empowerment, how education can be made fun, how education can be made rewarding and stimulating, how education should be relevant to day-to-day life, and where basically you have got lots of people coming and sharing with the youth. It's a youth empowerment strategy. It's a global confluence of educators, motivators, counselors, corporate from the different states, and they're coming from the world over to share their vision. That's Monday to Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. Then comes Friday evening. Friday evening, we talk about Buddham Saranam Gacchami. And when we talk about that, that is about 500 million plus people world over. They follow Buddhism. So International Buddhist Confederation Secretary General, Venerable Dr. Dhamma Piyaji, he gets the stakeholder from the world and they talk about what is Buddha's teachings and what is the relevance of Buddha's teaching in today's education system. When children are taking education, what is the philosophy of Lord Buddha, which should find the relevance over there? And then comes Saturday evening, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Yesterday evening, if you remember, 11th of September, 1893, 127 years back in Chicago, Swami Vivekananda ji, sisters and brothers of the universe, and everybody standing and rising on their chairs and clapping, thunders of claps and claps and claps, and they give the honor to this Swami, and that is the Swami Vivekananda's teaching for education and youth empowerment that we bring to you on Saturday, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And then comes, ladies and gentlemen, Sunday morning. Of course, in between Saturday evening, 7 to 8 routine program. There we talk about yoga, meditation, naturopathy, herbals, organic. आज के टाइम में हर एक को हम एक ही प्रार्थना करेंगे, एक ही निवेदन करेंगे, अपने घर में ऑर्गेनिक सब्जियां उगाइए, अपने घर की छत पर, अपने घर के आंगन में, जहां भी कोई जगह मिलती है वहां पर ऑर्गेनिक सब्जी उगाइए। मैंने पूरे घर का वातावरण बदल दिया है। B2B is not going to be business to business. It's called now back to basics of life. जितना बेसिक से जुड़ जाएंगे हम लोग सरवाइव कर जाएंगे। So that part is very important. We all have to understand. So Saturday evening, yesterday evening, we all talked about, कल की शाम हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी थी। हर सैटरडे को हम 7 बजे से 8 बजे तक आयुर्वेदा फॉर द ग्लोबल वेलनेस की बात करते हैं। और फिर आती है संडे मॉर्निंग। संडे मॉर्निंग 9:30 बजे लॉस एंजलिस कैलिफोर्निया वुडबरी यूनिवर्सिटी से प्रोफेसर सत्येंद्र दिमान comes live and he talks to all of us the significance of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita in today's education. What is the relevance of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita? And over there he talks about the journey विद्या से अध्यात्म विद्या की ओर, 10 प्रिंसिपल उपनिषद ऑफ इंडिया। भारत के वेदों में क्या लिखा है, उन वेदों में क्या, उनका क्या स्मरण है, उनका क्या क्या निचोड़ है, और आज के एजुकेशन सिस्टम में उनकी क्या रेलेवेंस है। नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी क्या थी, जहां पर 10,000 बच्चे पूरे वर्ल्ड से, डिफरेंट कंट्री से, 2,000 आचार्य। आप किसी भी सब्जेक्ट की बातचीत कीजिए, किसी भी सिस्टम को खत्म करने के लिए वहां के एजुकेशन सिस्टम को खत्म कर दीजिए, सिस्टम अपने आप खत्म हो जाएगा। मैकॉले ने जब जाके ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट में बोला कि अगर इंडिया में रूल करना है और इंडिया के सिस्टम को डिस्ट्रॉय करना है तो सबसे पहले वहां के एजुकेशन सिस्टम को डिस्ट्रॉय कीजिए। एंड दैट्स व्हाई संडे मॉर्निंग वी कम ऑन इंडियाज एंशिएंट इंडिया, हेरिटेज इंडिया, एंड दैट इज द उपनिषद ऑफ इंडिया एंड वेदास ऑफ इंडिया। And ladies and gentlemen, Sunday evening 5 to 6 p.m. we talk about India ASEAN joint series. All the 10 countries, 650 million population, and there we talk about, and यहाँ पर ज़्यादा फोकस दिया जाता है जिसको ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया के कहते हैं अष्टलक्ष्मी, जो 8 ब्यूटीफुल स्टेट्स हैं इंडिया में, त्रिपुरा, मणिपुर, असम, मेघालय, अरुणाचल प्रदेश, नागालैंड, सिक्किम, मिजोरम, ये जो 8 हमारी बहुत बड़ी ब्यूटीफुल स्टेट्स है अष्टलक्ष्मी, इन 8 स्टेट की ज्योग्राफिकल बाउंड्रीज जब आसियान के साथ बातचीत करते हैं, और लॉर्ड अशोका ने अपनी बेटी को, अपने दामाद को, अपने बेटे को, सब लोगों को आसियान भेजा था। अगर आज भी हम आसियान जाते हैं तो भारत का कल्चर आपको हर जगह नजर आता है। किसी भी कंट्री में ट्रैवल कीजिए, म्यांमार में जाइए, कंबोडिया में जाइए, लाओस में जाइए, थाईलैंड के एयरपोर्ट के ऊपर सागर मंथन है। So we all got to understand what is the relevance of Sunday evening. इस प्रोग्राम से पहले मैंने 15 मिनट पहले प्रोग्राम कंप्लीट किया, and what a beautiful pedagogy they gave it. वाटर कंजर्वेशन सिस्टम सिंगापुर में क्या है, वियतनाम में क्या हो रहा है, वो पूरे का पूरी चर्चा थी आज की शाम 5 बजे से 6 बजे। और अब 7 बजे से 8 बजे संडे का जो लास्ट प्रोग्राम आता है, जहां पर हम वीक को क्लोज करते हैं। अरे भाई, पढ़ाई का मतलब क्या है, पढ़ें क्यों हम शिक्षा लें, क्यों हम स्किल लें, क्यों हम कॉम्पिटेंसी बढ़ाएं, उसका कुछ मतलब तो होना चाहिए ना। तो मुझे रोजगार चाहिए, या मुझे कोई स्किल के साथ, कोई ना कोई हुनर के साथ जब आप मुझे दे रहे हैं, मुझे आप कौशलता दे रहे हैं, तो मुझे कुछ ना कहीं स्टार्टअप करना होगा, एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना होगा। और हम विमेन एम्पावरमेंट के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा, अगर आप नीचे देखेंगे तो हम विमेन एम्पावरमेंट पर बहुत ज्यादा जोर दे रहे हैं। हर रोज शाम को 5 बच्ची, 5 girls, they come from the world over and they talk their vision. They share their vision, that how do they think about this world and what do they want to do in this world and how do they want to take their dream project further. So ladies and gentlemen, this I just wanted to give the canvas so that you understand. हमारा चेंबर सुबह 9 बजे से लेकर रात के 9 बजे तक पूरा दिन 12 घंटे वर्ल्ड ओवर हम जुड़े हुए हैं। मंगोलिया तक हमारी टेलीकास्ट होती है, वहां के टीचर, वहां के यूथ, वहां के स्टूडेंट। सेंट्रल एशिया में हम जा रहे हैं, उज्बेकिस्तान, कजाकिस्तान, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, all the places we are in touch with the people over there. And South Asia की जब बातचीत कर रहे हैं तो Afghanistan, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Nepal, all the places we are connected with. और जब हम लैटिन अमेरिका की बातचीत करेंगे तो थोड़ी देर में मैं आपसे बातचीत करूंगा. प्रताप सिंह जी हमारे जो प्रेसिडेंट हैं लैटिन अमेरिका में, he is watching this program from Peru. I'm grateful for all the people those have joined us from Canada, United States, Latin America, people those have finished their lunch and waiting for their evening tea in entire Europe, people those are there in Central Asia, those are in ASEAN, those are there in Middle East, all the places wherever you are. So I'm grateful to all of you for having joined for this particular program. 15th of July, that is the youth empowerment strategies. That means the skill ministry जो भारत में नई बनी वो 15 जुलाई को सेलिब्रेट करते हैं यूथ के लिए. तो स्टार्टअप, स्टैंड अप और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के वेंचर्स का पूरा प्रोग्राम. Ladies and gentlemen, I have already discussed with you on the Buddhism. This is on Swami Vivekanand. This is on Ayurveda and the wellness. वर्ल्ड ओवर कल रात बहुत अच्छा था अर्थराइटिस पे. बहुत सारे लोग तीर्थ स्थानों पे जाते हैं, गुरुद्वारों में जाते हैं, टेंपल में जाते हैं एज के साथ. पहले उनको बैठने में तकलीफ होती है और जब बैठ जाते हैं तो ज्यादा देर के लिए तो खड़े होने में तकलीफ होती है. कल रात को 4 आयुर्वेदिस्ट थे और इन लोगों ने बातचीत की कि आयुर्वेदा की क्या क्या रेमेडीज हैं. एंड वर्ल्ड ओवर से इतनी क्वेरीज थी इस प्रोग्राम की कि मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता. एंड दिस प्रोग्राम वाज वंडरफुल यस्टरडे ऑन आर्थराइटिस. आज की सुबह प्रोफेसर सत्येंद्र दिमान साहब ने कठोपनिषद के बारे में, आज उसका चौथा पार्ट था, चौथा अध्याय था और उसके ऊपर आगे बातचीत चली. और ये सब हम विद्या से अध्यात्म विद्या की ओर जा रहे हैं. और ये प्रोग्राम में जो आपसे बातचीत कर रहा था इंडिया और आसियान का, जो इस प्रोग्राम से थोड़ी देर पहले खत्म हुआ. सो दिस इज द रिसर्च एंड द फाइंडिंग एंड द सिंथेसिस व्हाट वी हैव कैरिड आउट फ्रॉम आवर चेंबर. लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, वी विश टू शेयर 25 मार्च से लेकर 15 सितंबर तक जो रिसर्च पूरी हमने, जिसका हमने एक निचोड़ निकाला है. सबसे पहले वर्ल्ड उस ऑर्डर में कभी वापस नहीं जाएगा जहां ये जनवरी और फरवरी में था. हमें सस्टेनेबल मोड में जाना पड़ेगा, कम में गुजारा करना पड़ेगा. जो जरूरत चीजें हैं, जरूरतमंद चीजें हैं, बेसिक नेसेसिटीज हैं, उन्हीं के ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस करना होगा. लग्जरी नहीं आएंगी. यू कांट इमेजिन व्हाट आई एम passing through at this age, at this time, at the age of 70, because I dream tourism, I think tourism, I sleep tourism, I get up tourism, I eat tourism, I think tourism, my entire thought process. लेकिन इस समय मुझे टूरिज्म के बारे में नहीं सोचना है, मुझे ये सोचना है कि बेसिक फूड कैसे मिल सकता है. नंबर 2, आपकी बेसिक हेल्थ कैसे ठीक रह सकती है. और नंबर 3, हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम के अंदर कभी भी क्लासरूम की 4 दीवारों पे अब पढ़ाई नहीं हो पाएगी. ब्लेंडेड लर्निंग क्या है, फ्लिप लर्निंग क्या है, डिजिटल लर्निंग क्या है. एजुकेशन पूरी ट्रांसपेरेंट हो जाएगी. कोई भी आदमी अमेरिका में बैठ के इंडिया में पढ़ा सकता है. Why child should go all the way from here to Canada, to America, to Europe, to Australia? अरे भाई, कभी इसका अंदाजा लगाइए कि how much is the money drained out from India. As far as your going out is concerned, you're adding value, money, multiplier. You're taking the money out of India and you're adding somewhere else in the economy. Think about it. B2B, back to the basics of life. We all got to think about it. This is the last slide, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever human mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, we all have to understand. This particular series is making education relevant. It's a global confluence of educators, motivators, technocrats, counselors, wellness experts, corporate, government administrators, and decision makers all the way from the world, wherever they are from. We extend them a very, very hearty welcome for joining us for this particular program. Ladies and gentlemen, this particular program of the MSME, when I talk about, this is being brought to you under the dynamic leadership of Ravindra Nath ji. He is the kingpin, he is the person, and he basically packages the entire strategy. How do we do the hand-holding of the micro, small, and the medium enterprises? How do we empower the existing one? And how at the same time, the people, those are looking forward to some hand-holding, those want to come in startup, those want to come in stand-up, those need any kind of a guidance or a support. He is the person who is taking the vision ahead. Shri Ravindra Nath ji, he served as the chairman and managing director of the NSIC, our public sector enterprise under the aegis of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise till September 2018. Besides this, he held various senior positions of the corporate in the finance in the public and the private sector. He has over 3 decades of the experience in the various areas of finance, accounts, and management. He has worked on various initiatives to achieve inclusive growth in the country, particularly in the MSME sector. Mr. Nath, he was actively engaged in promotion and development of the MSME. Rather, I should say he is actively involved. Why was? As well as entrepreneurship development, creating collaborative environment to promote technology transfer, joint ventures between MSME both in India and overseas. He has been conferred with the several awards, including CMD of the Year Award in June 2015 for his exemplary role in promotion and development of the MSME sector in India, Outstanding Leadership Award conferred by Fore and Top Rankers in 2018 for achieving business excellence through creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I'm proud that he has taken the responsibility to be the senior advisor, chief advisor for the MSME sector with our chamber. I'm grateful to him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got Rotarian JP Malhotra ji, Chairman and Managing Director, Bhartiya Valves Private Limited, Chairman, Technology and Personality Development Center, President, DLF Industries Association 2010 onwards. I have been told that many Rotarians are also watching. My deep regards and gratitudes and thanks to all of you. And I wish to quickly share in 10 seconds a small story that our immediate past president of the chamber from 2016 to 18, he is Professor Satinder Dhiman from Woodbury. He went 30 years back on a Rotary scholarship on an exchange program to America, and Americans didn't allow him to come back. So that's the power of the Rotarians. And I'm proud that in Delhi, I have delivered lots of talks in Ashoka Hotel for the Rotarian as a motivational speaker. It's always a proud privilege. And in Chandigarh, I had been the part of the Rotarian Club when Colonel A.B. Singh ji was alive. God should give peace to that soul, wonderful person. Mr. Malhotra has a total work experience of 48 years. Worked with Atlas Cycle Industries Private Limited, that was Sonipat, for 9 years as a production engineer. He worked with the Superflame Industries Limited, Faridabad, for 3 years as a work manager, 6 years as a general manager, manufacturing gas stoves and the LPG cylinder valves, responsible for launch of SC-type LPG valves of domestic LPG cylinders, one of the 5 engineers whom Indian Oil got trained with Gulshan, Denmark, for transfer of technology. Ladies and gentlemen, people, those are joining us, I'm so grateful. Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, those are joining from the Scandinavian countries. Sister Marina, you're joining us from Sweden. Thanks a lot to you. She's the chairperson of the Wellness Society over there. Now running his own, Mr. Malhotra is now running his own SME Bhartiya Valves Private Limited, and ISO 9001-2015 certified company engaged in manufacture of ISA mark gas cylinder valves under BIS certification mark scheme. He has been recognized and felicitated with various prestigious awards for his commitment, dedication, and outstanding work in his field. We extend him a very, very hearty welcome. And we also extend a very hearty welcome to all the Rotarians, those are watching, viewing this particular program. Those of us in the webinar, it's fine. Otherwise, you open the YouTube, come live on Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page, be a part of this particular program. And I make a commitment to Rotarian JP Malhotra ji, one of the motivational talk complimentary any day during this COVID-19, whenever you wish, I would love to have for the Rotarians, wherever they are and those are watching this particular program. This evening, we have also been privileged, Mr. Subhash Jagota ji. We extend him a very hearty welcome. He's Managing Director, Jebro Advertising and Marketing Private Limited. He is a renowned international corporate trainer and has conducted corporate training and management development programs in India and abroad. Mr. Jagota has panned down leading books like foundation of success, succeeding in interviews, and succeeding through communication. Wonderful. We extend you a very hearty welcome, sir. He has been the speaker in various national and international conferences and ILO too, and also received various awards from national and international bodies. Ladies and gentlemen, currently on the advisory board of the premier management institutes in India and abroad. He's a former chairman of the National Institute of Personnel Management. He's also managing director of the Jebro Advertising and Marketing Private Limited. We extend him a very hearty welcome. My friend, my younger brother biologically, but we are equal as far as profession is concerned. Mr. D.K. Bakshi is also in this particular program. Wherever you are, wherever you're watching this program, I love you. I have got great love and respect for you. You're doing a wonderful job. I always pray to Almighty because you and me have sung together a lot of things. Jahan dal dal par sone ki chidiya karti hai basera, wo Bharat desh hai mera. I have got a great regards and love for you and all the motivational speakers. Dr. Shankar Goenka ji, I have got a regard for you also. You're also a motivational speaker and you're watching this particular program. Thank you very much. P.S. Rathore ji, I apologize. I'm not in a position to join. Your program is going on just parallel to me. You're also a motivational speaker and you spread this program to various people and you gave them. I wish all them a grand success. At this stage, I can only tell, let there be a global peace, happiness. And ladies and gentlemen, before we come on to it, I wish to tell my all MSMEs only one thing. There is no competition with anybody. Your competition is only with yourself. Remember that dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan. Dunya itni badi hai, itni badi hai, itni badi hai. Jitna main world travel karta gaya और 75 countries, 75% countries को travel करने के बाद मुझे एक ही बात समझ आई कि मैं तो कुछ नहीं हूँ, मेरा कोई अस्तित्व नहीं है. हवा इंसान के अंदर वैसे ही भरी हुई है. जब इस कुर्सी पर बैठो तो ये कुर्सी कहती है तुमसे पहले हजारों इस कुर्सी पर आए थे और तुमसे बाद हजारों इस कुर्सी पर आए हैं. घमंड और अभिमान तुम्हें किस चीज का है? So thereby, if you are more humble, it pays you more in life. So ladies and gentlemen, Ravindra Nath ji is my teacher, Malhotra ji is my teacher, Jagota ji is my teacher, and all of you, those who are watching this program this evening, and those will share their thought process in this particular program today, you all are my teachers, and I want to be a humble student of all of you, and I wish to learn from all of you. So like it happens in the film industry, like it happens in the media entertainment industry, let me drop the curtains and bring on the front screen the stars of the evening. And ladies and gentlemen, here comes the main star of the evening, who is packaging the entire MSME together. I would request you to kindly unmute your mic, sir, and thereafter we go on to Shri Ravindra Nath ji.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gulshan Sharma. It's always so very inspiring to hear you. 164 programs in such a short duration is no mean achievement. And every evening, 7 o'clock, it's a pleasure to look forward. It's a pleasure to hear you also, sir. My deepest regards to you. My deepest regards to my two co-panelists, Shri Malhotra ji, I would say a veteran in our industry circles. I call him the Bhisham Pitama of MSME sector. And the president of DLF Industries Association, I tell him, is a very small thing. Now he should move over to the national scenario. I have the privilege of getting associated with various industry associations, but then Faridabad, according to me, stands out in everything they do. Courtesy, my friends over there, and I am also privileged today to have Shri Subhaji also. And Subhaji, I really look forward to hearing you after having read your profile, after having heard about you from Mr. Malhotra. And also when Dr. Gulshan Sharma was just reading out as to what your achievements are. It's not only in today's program, but also several other programs. I would be very keenly looking forward to hearing you. But today, in perspective to the topic which we have selected, which in the present times is very, very relevant for us. And before I come to them, I convey my deepest regards, my greetings to all the participants from India and abroad who have joined us, who would be listening to us, and we look forward to having their ideas, contributions, and sharing of various success stories, if they have any, in the light of the topic which we have selected for today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that the world has been shaken by the unfolding COVID pandemic, which has evolved from a health disaster to an economic disaster. In India, the pandemic has significantly impacted various sectors as they deal with the supply chain, disruptions, lowering of demand, limited labor, and changing of consumer preferences. We all know that this, as Dr. Gulshan Sharma was also saying, things are not the same as they were. And I say this to set the tone for my two co-panelists, because they would be telling how the MSMEs are impacted, what do they look forward to that. But so far, I must say that India has faced the COVID situation with fortitude and a spirit of self-reliance. And to boost the embattled economy that has been brought to a screeching halt by this pandemic, government has announced special economic packages. They have been announced keeping in view two objectives. One is the short-term one, another is the long-term one. Short-term, in reviving the different spheres of the economy, and also in insulating India from any future global economic downturns. I'm sure both these are the aims of our Honorable Prime Minister when he really wants that India should be moving ahead and not impacted by the pandemic which has set in. If you remember, it was a few years back that he talked about the Make in India drive. And now he has given the clarion call for making India Aatmnirbhar or self-reliant. Both are critical. Both are critical steps in improving the manufacturing growth in our country. But we must say that Make in India as well as making India self-reliant or Aatmnirbhar both hugely depend upon the real leap in the ease of doing business. When I say ease of doing business, I am not merely referring to the numbers or the rankings which are there, the world rankings which are there, where India has moved from 142 in 2014 to 63 in 2020. I really mean that it should percolate down to the last MSME in our country, that things become easy, the life becomes easy for them. And I'm sure that this Aatmnirbhar call which has been given by our Honorable Prime Minister, if there are still any gray areas left despite a significant improvement in India's ranking, those gray areas would also be addressed. And when we look at the concept, which I'm sure we all would agree that the Prime Minister wants us to assess our own strengths, leveraging the global strengths, how do we look at the global market, and how does India stand as a player in the global market? All these require us to do one thing: improve our quality. And just like we were talking about Swachhata a little while back, a few years back, when our Prime Minister talked about that, we should be making quality as a part of our public consciousness. I'm sure the Prime Minister really wants us to look at India to be producing goods of quality that not only reduce our dependence on imported goods, but also make them well sought after globally, placing India amongst the foremost exporters in the world. And especially after this pandemic, when the world scenario is changing, there are so many foreign countries, foreign companies, foreign governments who are looking at India as an alternative. And similarly, let us also recognize the fact that we might be talking about India to be appearing self-sufficient when we talk about automobile sector. But let us not forget that most of these companies are fundamentally of foreign origin. When we look at defense, when we look at communications, most of these things, most of these companies, most of the production over there relies on imports. We need to address these sectors when we want them to be taken towards self-reliance. And when we realize that we need to be self-reliant, we must not forget that we need to strengthen the infrastructure like supply chain, storage, etc., and also to improve the quality of our human capital. It's a paradox that we have a huge number being churned out by the universities, engineers and graduates who are there, but industry says there is a big shortage of trained manpower. So that also needs to be addressed. And we have often heard our Prime Minister saying that we must be producing enough trained manpower who can go across the world and serve in those countries where they have shortage of manpower, or they have an aging population which cannot look after the requirements of their industry. Lot many things have been done already. Lot many initiatives have already been taken. And if I may just mention a few, the changes in the Companies Act, the amendments in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act, the private participation in the social infrastructure, civil aviation, coal, minerals, all this, they are all steps. And even the recent amendment in the definition of MSME, which I'm sure my co-panelists would be talking about that. It is all these which have happened, but still very often when I engage with the industry, they have always said that which is being talked about in the advertisement of a cold drink, ye dil mange more. So it is this more which I would like to listen from my dear friend and the champion of the industry, Shri Malhotra ji, as to what is that would be there which will really satisfy us. Though satisfaction is something which should never be there, because we always set our bars higher, set our targets higher to achieve more which can be done, but at least drive and put the MSMEs on the path that they really are and always shall be the backbone of Indian economy, like they are the backbone of several other economies. So without further ado, sir, I would request Shri Malhotra ji to commence his address and throw his slides before Shri Subhash ji also joins us later. Shri Malhotra ji, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Can I share my screen, sir?
Please, please.
Respected Dr. Gulshan Sharma ji, a very humble personality, the prime mover of this chamber, International Chamber of Service Industry, an exponent of empowering youth and MSMEs. So thank you very much for the generous introduction and opportunity given to me to share my thoughts on this subject today. I'm deeply impressed, sir, by the work you are doing, and look forward to future meetings with you at different platforms. Let me thank Shri Ravindra Nath ji, former CMD and NSCI, a wizard of solutions of MSME issues and challenges, a very senior friend of mine, a well-wisher of the industry. Thank you, Ravindra Nath ji, for giving me again this chance to present my thoughts today on the subject, making of Aatmnirbhar Bharat industry perspective. I also welcome my co-panelist, Shri Subhash ji. He is a very senior friend of mine, a great author, a management guru. Above all, he is mentor, a senior mentor at TAB DC, Technology and Personality Development Center. Thank you, Subhash, for joining this panel today. Dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, dear Rotarians who have joined today's webinar, It's my pleasure to you to present today my humble thoughts for consideration of authorities and industry as to what needs to be done for making Aatmnirbhar Bharat a dream project of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Friends, local, global, vocal go hand in hand with Aatmnirbhar Bharat, and MSMEs in informal and formal sector have to play a larger comprehensive role. Local has now become a necessity for business and our survival. Model of globalization, which was founded on more on trade across borders, is now not sustainable. Nations are learning to do what they could not do before and are doing better. Industrial nations, unless natural rich nations, are not born with competitive advantage. They develop them. The sustainable competitive advantage of businesses and nations is to learn faster than any potential competitor. Therefore, an industrial policy focused on increasing the capabilities and capacities of people and businesses within India is imperative for growth of the nation and well-being of the people. This is a real Aatmnirbhar Bharat. A shift in business, national economic policies and strategies is required, along with cost efficiency and market focus. Friends, Europe for Europe, Asia for Asia, they say, let us add India for India. Friends, India has a potential to be a large market. That is possible only when more Indians have higher incomes. For this, Indian industry must produce something. ये भी रविंद्र नाथ जी ने भी कहा था, you must produce something which people can buy. Market will be more local and production will be more local. For India to be Aatmnirbhar, it is not enough to develop few world-class companies. Industrial ecosystem comprising of webs of small and large, formal and informal, manufacturing and servicing enterprises, they have to compete with the ecosystems in the other countries. Large companies must nurture small domestic companies, and all of them collectively should nurture people. Honorable Ravindra Nath ji also touched that we have to, whatever we do in industry or service organizations, it has to touch people. Given the opportunity, people have the abilities to learn new capabilities. Fortunately for India, we are abundantly endowed with people who will be India's great source of strength for sustainable competitive advantage, and thus chart the trajectory of local development for growth towards creation of Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Friends, dreams of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi are achievable, but the authorities, national, state or district, have to come out open-heartedly, listen to industry issues, thereby developing an ecosystem and road to ease of doing business. इसी बात को हिंदी में कहूंगा, क्षण बदलेगा, पल बदलेगा, आज नहीं तो कल बदलेगा, चिंता नहीं तो चिंतन करना, इतना सा परिवर्तन करना, तू मन कच्चा मत करना, तू बस मन को पक्का करना. The change will come and collectively will bring. Friends, MSMEs, रविंद्र नाथ जी ने अभी डेफिनेशन का बताया था, क्लासिफिकेशन अभी चेंज हुई है जुलाई 20 से. The concept is that this classification will encourage ease of doing business. This will make the norms of classification growth oriented. Outreach of schemes, government schemes will increase. Also, this classification will be aligning us with the tax regime around the GST. Friends, please note that investment ceilings have gone up by 15 to 20 times. MSMEs, industry, रविंद्र नाथ जी सिनोनिमस है, इंडस्ट्री का मतलब ही MSME है. जो लार्जर सेक्टर है वो 1%, 2%, whatever is the figure. लेकिन जो कंट्रीब्यूशन MSME सेक्टर्स की है, MSMEs की है, that is unparallelable. Employment generation, low capital and technology requirement, industrial development all over the rural areas, causing balanced growth, traditional and sort of local skills, use of local resources, export of products. 40% share है exports में. Sir, 12 million GST registrations हैं आज की डेट में, 4.8 million उद्योग आधार registrations, 63 million enterprises, 11 करोड़ से ऊपर बताते हैं कि employment है. Sir, a day in life in industry opportunities. I want to tell people that we have got so much scope in making of Aatmnirbhar Bharat. अगर इन आइटम्स में कहीं भी हम अपना कंटेंट, अपनी प्रोडक्शन, अपने जो लोकल प्रोड्यूस है उसको हम डाल सकें. बात कर रहे थे कार्स की. The latest figure of August is 8,500 cars per day. The latest figure of two-wheelers is 59,000 in the month of August. You can understand what are the opportunities for Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Now, let me come to desirable requirements of industry for making Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Sir, before I cover this slide, my presentation is based on interactions and inputs with the industry spread over a period of years, engagement with the industry owners and entrepreneurs with turnover from 2 crores to 200 crores. It covers products in sectors, engineering, manufacture, automobiles, textile, garments, electricals, machinery, forging, packaging, and printing. It also, my presentation is also based on the inputs and the interactions we had in the last 6 months to share and care, find solutions, evolve local SOPs, and think of Aatmnirbhar Bharat. And we also got the opportunity to know more about the labor laws and the logistics. Now, what is the requirement of the industry? Sir, we require land at reasonable price. We want higher productivity labor. We want cheaper raw materials, low logistic costs, domestic market, a law system of laws and legal systems, and affordable and adequate finance. उसमें इंडस्ट्री, ये तो गवर्नमेंट का था. इंडस्ट्री क्या करेगी? They will develop economic and competitive indigenous manufacturing technology. Sir, MSMEs, they avoid partners because of fear of loss of technology. That part we will take care. But MSMEs will have to look after the laws of generation and disposal of trade affluents. Plus, they have to organize their own share of funds. I present to you, dear participants, a model SOP for starting an enterprise. We expect that the governments of the day will take care of these aspects so that we have efficient starting of an enterprise. Authorities to provide guidance and help to form a company with all the approvals free of cost. Some of the points may seem to be radical, but this is, I thought, and I want to present before you. We want to reduce time of registration of name, number, and company documents. I wish we have a BI help office to provide all assistance, architect, contractor, infrastructure, connectivity, greenery. 5 basic services, Ravindra Nath ji, they are required for starting an enterprise. We want leveled land, road connectivity, electricity, water, sewer connection at our factory gate. We expect a system of time-bound deemed approvals, government departments to be fully accountable. There are some statutory requirements which the government should help. It's insurance, it's endowment, accident, unemployment, maternity, all types of insurances. There should be limited number of holidays. No PL, no CL. हमारे यहाँ रविंद्र नाथ जी नक्शा पास कराने की बड़ी इशू है. What I expect is कि जितने factory rules हैं, we comply at the time of construction. We have a system in India. We have 2 types of maps for the buildings. One for the construction purpose, other for the factory act purpose. We request that all the factory rules for the building should be completed at the time of construction only. Thereafter, no inspector visit. Taxes and duties, काफी improvements हो चुकी हैं इसमें. VAT returns online. Sir, a system, there has to be a system of no returns, monthly, quarterly, half yearly or annual. आप इनवॉइस बनाइए, डिवाइस के साथ डिपार्टमेंट से कनेक्ट कीजिए, डिपार्टमेंट डेटा अपने पास ट्रांसफर कर ले, and they should set it right. Why should the industry be asked to file returns after returns? 28 रिटर्न होती थी जी जीएसटी की, थोड़ी अब कम हो गई है, but still a lot of things are required. We expect no taxes, expect VAT, IT, custom duty and local taxes. All assessments and renewals to be done online. Interferences. Sir, कहीं मेरी presentation में I am just suggesting everything is not possible in a day, but this is thought for future. No aggressive labor unions. Wages and benefits are well defined and linked to productivity. Here I'd like to add, since we want to have a good labor with high productivity, initial labor cost may be higher, but ultimately the cost per product of each product will be lower due to high productivity of the labor. Sir, we want no political or bureaucratic interventions. No invisible transaction costs. Now that is very important. I'll elaborate it elsewhere in the presentation. Inspector visits. We want one visit of the industry department, HOD, with all the departments. चाहे वो electricity है, labor है, municipal है, कोई भी है, साल में एक बार हमारा visit आइए, जो कमियां हैं, you tell us, give us advice. If everything is fine, good. Otherwise, issue advisory. Sir, we expect quick government response to changing international situation. Like energy hai, oil prices hai, metals hai, currencies hai, they change. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ response जो है वो थोड़ा late होता है sir. Sir, my presentation, I would like to suggest that these principles are propagated upstream and downstream, and they will result into a competitive product which is in need. In my view, there is ease of starting business, there is ease of doing business, there will be ease of cost of doing business. I have prepared a small recipe for Aatmnirbhar Bharat. The economy had a free fall in the last 3 years in a row. Dream of 5 trillion economy by 2023 looks to be a distant dream now. The economy has to be fixed. We have to create millions of jobs for the youth. We have to rein in corruption, sir, and clean up. Retail corruption, which determines the ease of doing business, on the ground remains unabated. The major economic engines, चाहे वो consumption है, चाहे वो private investments है, और सर ने आपने बताया था exports है, they need to fire. GST, मैंने पहले जिक्र किया था, the compliance nightmares for MSMEs still persist because GST has a focus on revenue maximizations, multiple rates, and exemptions. I will not speak about demonetization, लेकिन उसका effect अभी भी है सर. The slump in the demand is still there. In the reforms and ease of doing business, we need to curtail discretionary power of the bureaucrats. Because they will not, without any prejudice, they don't cut their powers on their own. Whatever reforms, sir, अभी रविंद्र नाथ जी ने बात की थी, काफी reforms हुए हैं सर, लेकिन in my view, many of the reforms are procedural, conditional, short-term with riders. Sir, conditional or short-term reforms से industry growth boost नहीं होता sir. It takes time. So SMEs will have to, they boost the employment and ensure equality of income and wealth. They support the GDP to Aatmnirbhar Bharat. What is the need of ours? Structural reforms covering land and labor, financial market and banking. 1992 reforms dismantled host of industrial and trade policy restrictions. That led to productivity, led to economic expansion spread over 2 decades. So those gains have now been exhausted. Again, we need to be a robust link in the global supply chain. Piecemeal approach has to be avoided. Foreign investment, sir, or the local investment does not come with short-term measures. Restrictive laws, which will likely to reappear in next 3 years. Abhi, kuch state governments they announced some reforms limited to 3 years. How can you expect long-term investments if you have short-term measures or reforms? Again, we do not relax laws selectively only for new investors. This is distortionary and penalizes the existing businesses. अभी मैं एक सेमिनार अटेंड कर रहा सर, लास्ट सेमिनार आप भी का था सर गुलशन जी, जिसमें गवर्नमेंट प्रोक्योरमेंट की बात हुई थी.
सर मैं सुन रहा हूँ, पूरा एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ सर.
सर अभी टेंडरिंग की बात हुई थी वहां पे. सर टेंडरिंग में अभी भी दे स्पेसिफाई foreign certifications. They specify unreasonable technical specifications. Brands and models are specified in the tender documents. These restrictive practices, I call, in the government procurements against local suppliers should be done away. We have to, again, in need of hour, the preponderance of MSMEs that bears heavily on their mind is the problem of business climate. That's why Ravindra Nath ji, they remain small. आज लेबर की रेगुलेशंस हैं, आज लैंड एक्विजिशन जो है वो आपका अपना कारोबार बढ़ाएंगे. आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए हमें कारोबार बढ़ाना है, but land is not available, and the land regulations, acquisition of land is full of subject to so many regulatory hurdles. Sir, the need of hour is to remove the impeding regulations. Again, the credits. Ravindra Nath is a man for finance, huge NPAs. I am a sufferer of NPA, sir, in my earlier career. Time permit nahi karega, otherwise I can share my story over there. So these small things, they have to be taken care of. And what I call is catch these crises by the horns. Regulatory reforms need to be pushed. India is young population with tremendous entrepreneurship skills, talent and zeal. Let's go out of the way. Reforms are now the mantra for the self-reliant India or Aatmnirbhar Bharat. आइए शादी होती है ना सर, तो सब पति एक promises लिए जाते हैं साथ से. I have developed myself. This is a new thing done. Action plan for self-reliant India. आत्मनिर्भर भारत करना है तो आपको सतपदी ये 7 steps जो हैं आपको लेने होंगे. Technology is a bonus and boom. Automation, data analytics, online channels. The small businesses, they have to plan interventions to digitally enable and strengthen themselves. Conserving capital is the second step. Businesses have to focus on capital conservation. Capital is a big resource, sir, or shortage mein hai. So we need to conserve it. Evaluation, collaborations, consultations, process efficiency apne improve karni hai. Remodeling the business operations, local manufacture, and product innovations. Supply chain, aapne baat kari sir, we have to optimize supply chain to become resilient. हमने employees की cross-selling करनी है, upskilling करनी है to ensure agility. And I'm sure Subhash ji is an expert. I will not say much about it. And same is true about the employee support. बिना employees के कोई संस्था चल नहीं सकती सर. MSME industry, आज we have to build trust with the help of employees. We have to have open communication with them, respect their time, appreciate their achievements. Businesses have to invent and align to configure customer demand. For most of the companies, it is repair, rethink, restart, and refigure. The pricing model has to change. आज हम वो प्राइस नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकते फिक्स करना. We may not get buyers. We have to adjust to a flexible pricing model, or we have to create SOPs for every possible role in the organization. Sir, gone are the days. आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए हमें that चलता है thing has to end now. प्रमोद बत्रा जी, मैं कोट करूंगा 1 मिनट के लिए यहाँ पे. वो 2 शब्द कहते थे जी, KFP एंड BFP. सुभाष जी जानते हैं कि फर्क पैदा है और बहुत फर्क पैदा है. अगर आपने क्वालिटी मेंटेन करनी है, then चलता है एटीट्यूड has to be done away with it. The prime focus for Aatmnirbhar Bharat सर हमें सेमीकंडक्टर्स बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. We don't have to go to buy rare elements or electronic components. Let's focus on the layers of technology to be built on top of these, the assembled hardware and the apps. India, sir, in my opinion, India has the talent to build its own infrastructure and leap ahead. Millions of engineers trained to develop IT systems give us a huge advantage and create world-changing technology that can challenge the Silicon Valley. We have to nurture them and bring them to the mainstream. बात करें labor laws की. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes on this subject. I'm heading to the last slides now. Friends, for making of Aatmnirbhar Bharat, Indian labor laws need great change. As of now, our Indian labor laws are neither pro-labor, they are neither pro-employer. They are pro-labor inspector. Let's change these laws, make them balanced, evident, and open. Explosion of labor consultants and rich labor inspectors suggest massive transaction cost. मैंने पहले कहा था, we have to reduce the transaction costs. These increase and depend upon how the labor laws are written, interpreted, practiced, and enforced. Formal benefits are lower than the informal costs. Labor laws, complexity compounds with the geography, scale, head count. आप यूपी में काम करते हैं, चेन्नई में काम करते हैं, फरीदाबाद में काम करते हैं, they are different. I have suggested some reforms, compliance reforms. Yeah, Subhaji is an expert on all these subjects, but I'll add just my point of view. Sir, Indian labor laws, you cannot comply 100%, even with 10% violation. Why? Multiple definitions of employees, employer, wages. What we need is a universal enterprise number and digitization of all the systems into all the indexes into one system. Criminalization of reforms. Sir, half the labor laws, they prescribe jail. MSMEs have to focus on the day-to-day work, sir. There's an excessive criminalization. My suggestion is at least convert 50% of them to begin with to civil penal actions. Social security reforms. मैं बात कर रहा था अभी. We have ESI, EPFO, NPS, Ayushman Bharat, Aadhaar, and so many things. If I may quote, I had one-to-one discussion with our Vice Chairman Niti Ayog, Amod Kanji, at one of the interfaces I had with him. And he said, in very loud terms, abolish ESI, EPFO, they are not doing any good service. सर आपने पेंडेमिक की बात करी, वेजेस की बात हुई थी, लॉकडाउन के पीरियड में इंडस्ट्री ने वेजेस पे किए सर through our throat. ESI, which we pay regularly for each and every employee that works for our company, thousands of crores are lying over there, sir. Employment contract reforms. There is a toxic combination of trade unions and criminalization of politics. The less said, the better. Wage reforms, some things are being done, but there are issues of gross versus net, calculation of social security on basic wages, getting rid of regulatory distortions. A word about methods of financing in support, which is expected now. So the first point I've taken from Dr. Raghuram Rajan, latest suggestion which he has given. Refund businesses a share of total tax they paid in the past. And this is going to impact the financing requirement of MSMEs. क्या होगा सर इससे? The compliant enterprise, an enterprise which pays regular taxes, will stand to benefit, and the fraudulent, the tax evaders would stand to lose. Number two, big companies like Reliance, Amazon, Tata's, Maruti's, they should be encouraged to invest and support small businesses, those from which they source their items. For this to happen, the government has to clean the policy mess, provide a level playing field. हम अक्सर बात करते हैं level playing field की सर. There has to be a level playing field, level playing ground to all the big companies, like equal rules, constraints of freedom to all. Large companies to be incentivized to export products from India's MSMEs. You remove riders, getting rid of public sector procurement is rationality. Sir, India's domestic market will serve as a base of an Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Conducive business atmosphere attracts domestic and foreign investment in manufacturing. I have made these points especially for Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Sir, आप यूथ को एम्पावर करते हैं सर, यूथ की काफी हमारी जो कंट्रीब्यूशन हो सकती है. If they pick up innovative services, they take risk, pick up offbeat services careers, they should follow their heart, take the passion, and dare to be dream different. कुछ ब्रांचेस हैं, photonist, मैंने अभी recently पढ़ा था. They should opt for this and create, they work on techniques in emission of detection, light and body light. Food flavorist, food and beverage का इतना scope है कि MSMEs can do wonders and contribute to the Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Brewing and distilling, sir. You can start your own business. Art restorer, deep sea diver, and similarly so many other things. Friends,
I think, sir, your internet connection somewhere. Ravindra Nath ji?
Sir.
I think internet connection somewhere.
Malhotra sir? Hello?
Internet connection का सर वो थोड़ा difficulty वहाँ मुझे लग रहा है.
हाँ. Can we move over to Mr. Subhash ji? Subhash ji, are you there?
That is possible, sir. We have to close this presentation.
Yes. Subhash ji?
Okay. I am the last speaker, so it seems I have lots of time constraint. I'll try to...
No, there's plenty of time, sir. It was only that since Mr. Malhotra was not responding on that, there's plenty of time. And we look forward to hear you.
First of all, I am so happy and delighted to meet Mr. Gulshan Sharma for the first time. And I heard your appreciation from a friend D.K. Bakshi. And जितना आपके बारे में सुना था वो शायद बहुत कम था.
Thank you, sir.
My God, you are a proud citizen of our country, and we are proud of you.
Thank you, sir.
रविंदर जी को भी मैं शायद आज पहली बार मिल रहा हूँ, और रविंदर जी वंडरफुल, और जेपी मल्होत्रा जी को तो मिलते रहते हैं, ही इज इन फरीदाबाद एंड वी मीट क्वाइट ऑफन। गुलशन जी, आपने स्टार्ट किया था एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के ऊपर। You know, in our present system of education is a child spends 3 years in kindergarten. After 3 years, the 12 years he spends on higher secondary education. Okay, and then he spends another three years for doing his graduation, that is BA or BBA. Okay, that's 18 years. And after 18 years, he further does post-graduation, MBA or anything else for another 2 years. So 20 years of hard work and tapasya, when a guy gets a job, he is called as a trainee. What a unfortunate thing is that after 20 years of hard job, a student is called a trainee and he is asked, कि अभी तो बच्चा है, इसको अभी नया नया आया है, hold on. So I think we must thank our Prime Minister of India, who has made a new and revised education policy where skill development has been given a great emphasis. So I must thank him. Now for MSME, I have got 10 points to share today, and I will quickly tell them one by one. And my points will be more from transformation from HR perspective. So I'm a human resource specialist, so I'll speak from human resource point of view. My first point is managing people is managing business. I will repeat, managing people is managing business. When you focus on money, you will build a company. When you focus on people, you build an institution. You know, Tata's started in 1986, almost 152 years more than that. Tata was number 1 in 1986, and today Tata is still number 1. Now that is the great thing. It is because Tata's has concentrated on the people management. If a young boy joins as a matriculate, 10th pass, after that he is trained to become an ITI for 3 years. He does 3 years apprenticeship. Then AMI, he does a 3 or 4 years diploma. So, and after that he completes his engineering by AMI. And as you know, a guy joins as a trainee and he retires as a general manager. What a great thing it is. So I think managing people is most important, and I think we need to concentrate on that. Now, I had been an advisor to many of the small scale industries, and my first question to them is, tell me what is the vision and values of the company. So their answer is, Jagota साहब, ये theoretical बातें हैं, इसको छोड़िए आप business की बात करो. So I tell them that if you do not have a vision, and कुछ कंपनियों ने vision बना रखा है, but the vision is displayed on the chairman's cabin and that's all. And somewhere it is displayed on the notice board. And nobody in the company understands the meaning of the vision. You see, that is the unfortunate part. I was in my last company where I was director HRD. You see, we did almost 25 workshops on vision development and values development around the world. So values are very important. Take the case of Maruti. I did almost 25 workshops in Maruti for new joinees to make them understand the values of Maruti. So one of the values is creativity. Imagine thousands and thousands of suggestions are coming up from the workers, and company must have saved more than 20 to 30,000 rupees, 20 to 30 crores of rupees, every year out of the suggestion received from the employees. So creativity is their value. In some company, caring is a value. No, you care the customer, you care the employees, you care your supplier, you care the government officials, you care the family members of the employees. Now, caring is a value of the company. Now, these are not activities. These values bring business to the company, it brings growth to the company, and ultimately it brings profitability to the company. So values are extremely important, and I would like that these values must be shared. You know, you must discuss these employees, let the employees come out with values of the company. So maza aayega. So this is point number 2. The third is acquisition of potential employees and high performers. Small scale industries mein maine dekha hai, they want to employ somebody who is available in market at the lower cost. And that's why the company is not growing. That's the problem in most of the small scale industries. They will never leave your company, and they will leave the company the day the company closes. So my suggestion to all the small scale industries, industrialists, that please make sure hire the best of the best people in the company. They will give you the best results. Your growth will take place with the talent of the potential employees. And one more suggestion, don't force things on the high performers. You see what happens, the MD of the company will force everything to the new employees. Aisa karna, aisa karna, aisa karna. That's why the company does not grow. When you take high performers, please listen to their ideas. Please listen to their experience. They will tell you how the company should grow. So my suggestion is, when you are hiring people, take the best. I have hardly seen a small scale industry going for campus interviews. Tata consultancies, they are taking thousands and thousands of people from the campus interviews. So many good companies. But small scale industry, they will never go for campus. Are ye to bacche hain, they are trainees. So it will not work. So that's my third message. And fourth, pehle hota tha survival of the fittest. Then it changed. Survival of the quickest. Survival of the quickest. And now the survival of adjustability. If you adjust with the new environment, only then the company will grow. If you don't adjust with the company, you don't change with the environment, company will not grow. I still remember I was the management advisor to T-Series. T-Series is a company which is into the music. T-Series was making cassettes. Cassettes vanished. Immediately we started making CDs. So CDs came in the market. CD vanished. We started making pen drive. Pen drive vanished. We started making pen drive with music. Usme 200 gaane humne feed kar diye. Right? So the pen drive was made. And then the son of Gulshan Kumar, Mr. Bhushan Kumar, is a very dynamic young entrepreneur. And now he has entered into making films. The company look very small, but they are actually very big. Lots of profitability in the company. So my suggestion is that I think you must adjust with the time. Only then the company will grow. The fifth point is leveraging multiple intelligence and wisdom of your team members. उनके strength को, उनके talent को utilize तो करिए. अब hire तो कर रहे हैं लेकिन utilize नहीं कर रहे. What is the use of paying them such a high salary? So my suggestion is utilize their talent, utilize their energy, utilize their ideas, and if you do that, you know, you will grow very fast. I have suggested to many small scale industries, have an idea day once in a week. Let every Friday be an idea day. You see, display on the notice board and make the banners all over the company that Friday is our idea day. Let people come out with innovative ideas on Friday, and let 1 hour be devoted to the, getting ideas from the people. If that happens, I'm sure the company will grow much faster. My sixth point, mindset of the people. Develop a mindset of winners. अभी अगर आप winners का mindset नहीं बनाएंगे तो बात नहीं बनेगी. You see, Ola Cab, for example, during this epidemic period, most of the Ola companies were not working properly. They had no business at all. But Ola company now got connected with many of the restaurants. तो जो food बनाते थे ना restaurant, उनके food को supply करने के लिए Ola cabs are being utilized. You know. Now I must tell you a hobby of mine. I have a hobby of spreading greenery. So in my house, in the last 8 years, I have developed more than 6,000 plants in my house, you see, and I am spreading greenery. So when there was 6,000 plants, and I am, with the help of my family members and few associates, we are multiplying those plants. So मुझे लगता है कि अगले साल तक तो ये 10,000 plants हो जाएंगे. तो मैं क्या करूँगा? So somebody suggested, why don't you make a business model out of it? So I involved my daughter-in-law, and she is now the CEO of the company, and we started a company called Green Aura. So we are using now the Ola Cab. We are using Ola Cab for delivery of the plants to various corporate offices and various places. So I think this is what is important, that we must change with the time. Point number 7, create second curve before the first curve start declining. I will repeat, create the second curve before the first curve start declining. That means when a person is going to retire, when a person is not giving you good efficiency, he is a low performer, the job of the industry is to develop number 2 as fast as possible. If that does not happen, the first curve will leave the company and there will be a very big gap, Therefore, second curve has to be developed. मेरी एक छोटी सी सजेशन है कि मैंने जो स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री में नोटिस किया है, the chairman of the company will develop his son. He will invest most of the time in developing his own family members. I have no objection to this. But why don't you develop youngsters or people who are working in the company for such a long period? You must develop their capabilities. Send them to various seminars. Let them learn from our friend Gulshan Sharma ji through various webinars. So they must learn, and that is how the company will grow. So create the second curve before the first curve start declining. 8th point, very important, shift from isolation to integration. अकेले business नहीं चलेगा सर अब आने वाले time में. Alone you can do nothing. You have to integrate with people. I have a friend, who is having a company. His 70% capacity is not being utilized. So I've been telling him, why don't you have a collaboration with a couple of people and they will utilize your capacity and have an understanding, collaborate. Now the banks are being collaborating with each other. So what is the harm in collaborating? आपकी जो spare capacity है, let somebody else use it. Even I should say there should be an understanding. I remember I was heading for escorts and firefighting. There were 40 companies and we made one person as the in charge of firefighting for all the 40 companies. So wherever there is a fire, that man will take charge of all the 40 companies. No, that's what is important. So I think the time has come when we have to shift from isolation to integration. The ninth point is shift from lifetime employment to short-term assignment. Have a contract employees, have a part-time employees. Specialists can be utilized for a very short period. Electricians, fitters, plumbers, carpenters. Why do you appoint them on a full-time basis? You have the best of the best carpenter and make a panel of 5 carpenters or 10 carpenters. Utilize them depending on their knowledge and experience. So friends, these are some of my points. And the last one or two is, I would recommend all the industries, small scale industries especially, make the skill inventory of your talent available in the company. Unki skill inventory banaiye aap. You should know, in my last company, one of the wife of our manager, she was very good in Japanese language. So some Japanese came to our company and nobody knew. The interpretation was a very big problem. So हमने skill inventory बनाई हुई थी, even for the ladies. So we could make out that one of our manager's wife is very good in in Japanese language. We utilize her strength. Skill inventory is very important. और जो लोग आपको छोड़ के जाते हैं, उनको सर भूलिए मत, उनको alumni बनाइए अपनी कंपनी का. मैंने XLRI से MBA किया था. I am still their alumni. Similarly, if a good employee leaves your company, please make them alumni of your company. You will see that a lot of support will be provided to you. So friends, let me put a final word. Growth is not profit. It is developing an innovative culture, developing processes, developing values for the company, developing patents for the company, R&D, brand building, recycling. हम हमेशा जो वेस्ट होता है ना उसको रद्दी में बेच देते हैं. और मैं सबको कह रहा हूं, think it over. Can you recycle your waste? So learning culture, getting ready for diversification. So these are my random thoughts. Friends, whatever best I knew, I have shared with all of you. I hope some of my thoughts will be implemented by some of my friends. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Subhaji, let me start with you. All your ideas are extremely wonderful ideas, I would say, from a corporate level organization, a big organization, to a micro level organization. They are what is being needed if somebody has to literally transform its business from what has been to what can be envisioned as one of the leading exemplary businesses of our country. Because I have myself passed through these moments where each one of these things which you said, I tried to implement in a small measure. And as you were mentioning about Dr. Kumar, our company, I would say from 2007 to 2018, it was because of inculcating some of these things that we could move from a business of 2,000 crores to 22,400 crores from 2007 to 2018. Sir, and the biggest thing was that we told our government, thank you very much, we don't need your money. From a company which was perennially dependent on government grants, always going with a begging bowl, ki paise de do, salary deni hai, we started paying almost 100 crores by way of dividend and taxes. So I was literally, it was music to my ears when you were speaking all these points, sir, because this is what, if somebody imbibes, if somebody tries to implement, they would be radically changing their performances. And definitely, I would like to spread more of this. And as I said earlier, I would like to hear more of you in the days to come. So, but thank you very much, sir, for sharing such wonderful ideas. And normally people talk about foreign motivational speakers, I always believe that in our country, when we have Mahabharata on one side, when we have Bhagavad Gita on another side, when we have Ramayana on another side, we have such exemplary motivational speakers like you, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, and in no small measure, my friend whom I earlier addressed, the Bhisham Pitama of the MSME sector, Mr. Malhotra. Sir, Malhotra sir, when I was listening to you, I hope you would have completed your address. There was some glitch in the internet. When you were speaking, I could understand I was not wrong when I called you the Bhisham Pitama. I was not wrong when I always urge you to come to the national level because Faridabad is too small for you. Let the benefit of your wisdom, let the benefit of your experience be shared with the policymakers at the national level. I'm sure that some of your points might look very radical, but then when the Prime Minister can think radically of converting a country which has always been bogged down by historical laws, historical mindsets, and he wants to break those channels which have withheld India's acumen, India's powers which are there, which are gradually being recognized now by the world. I'm sure, sir, your radical ideas would be equally accepted by one and all across the policymakers, be it the Niti Aayog, be it MSME ministry, be it the finance ministry. So your last slide, you were talking about finance. And I was reminded of what Mr. K.V. Kamath, the former chief of the new development bank of BRICS, even he acknowledged. He said the financial health of small businesses would be the key in the success of Aatmnirbhar Bharat. Sir, a man like Mr. Kamath accepting and saying that the success of small businesses is key for the success of Aatmnirbhar Bharat. What more do we need? But things need to be more. And when you were talking about credit, sir, I was reminded of what he has said. He said there are three components which need to be touched based when we talk about credit. One, the cost of credit. Second, the flow of credit. And third, the momentum of credit. And he says, all these have to be in sync. It's not that we touch on one and conveniently forget the others. I'm sure, sir, these ideas which you have shared, which must have been listened by some of the policymakers also, because Dr. Gulshan Sharma makes it a point that any good thoughts which emerge during the webinars, he makes it a point that they must be shared with the government or those close to the corridors of power. But as I always said, and as I also said, sir, at the beginning of the address, the positive approach with which I've always handled things, and Subhaji, as I said, how a public sector company transformed from the way it was to the way it changed to, it always makes me believe that the best of it in India is still to come. गम की अंधेरी रात में वो कहते हैं सुबह जरूर आएगी सुबह का इंतजार कर. That song always inspires me, and it always makes me a die-hard optimist, which says that India and Indians have an indomitable spirit and a sense of duty towards our country as equal stakeholders and trustees, so as to enable the vision of Aatmnirbharta to be carried forward and to be translated into reality. Sir, MSME sectors, people talk about the fourth industrial revolution. They talk about that so many jobs will be lost. I always say, sir, इससे पहले 3 भी आए थे ना, वो भी चले गए थे. Our youth is evolving. What we really need is hand-holding. What we really need is simplification of things. Sir, 63 million is not a small number when we talk about MSMEs. Most of the countries would not have a population as big as this. whereas we have only the MSMEs which are there. And very rightly said by Mr. Malhotra, the contribution to exports, the contribution to employment, the contribution to GDP. So this challenging period has opened areas. We always remember the Prime Minister here saying that हमारे पास तो PP kit भी बनाने की औकात नहीं थी. And well, today we are at such a stage that probably we can give it to various other countries as the pandemic numbers are not dissuading, they're not dying down. So every difficulty is an opportunity. That's how I take it. But what I believe is the teamwork has to be there. The stakeholders which have to be there. And it is again the time when all stakeholders need to get together and support the vulnerable MSME players. Sir, why do I say that whenever I talk about MSMEs and I talk about industry associations, why do I always give two examples, sir? The examples of Faridabad industry associations, they are the foremost in my examples, because I have seen them holding each other in difficult times. And that is what enabled them to become so formidable a group that probably we do not have quite similar to them elsewhere in the country. Every point, and the second which I find is in Codecia. Though there are several other associations across the country who are very good. I talk about CASIA, I talk about FKCCI in Telangana, in UP and elsewhere, everywhere. But then there are some star makers. There are some leaders who are in a different league altogether, and we need to emulate what they have done. The time is a constraint, otherwise I had requested Malhotra Sahab to share some of their best practices. I do not need to go to a country like Taiwan, where a small SME, Dr. Sharma, they don't have to bother about कि मुझे अभी प्रोडक्शन कर ली है तो मुझे डिस्पैच कैसे करना है, मुझे बैंक के पास डॉक्यूमेंट कैसे भेजने हैं, और अगर मैं फेल हो गया तो I would not be left to bleed. There would be something which will enable me to survive for my difficult times, and everything will not be snatched away and I become an ultimate NPA, a blot which remains on the man for the whole life. So that is what I believe, sir, and I'm sure with your wonderful thoughts, both Mr. Malhotra's as well as Subhaji yours, if they are translated into the ground realities, I'm sure the Aatmnirbhar Bharat-Industry will definitely achieve its objectives to build capacities across sectors and promote the local products, make them quality products. To scale up manufacturing, you had a wonderful idea, sir, where you said, let us integrate. There are several spare capacities which are there. It is time that we start using them. You said, why do we need full-time people? Let us cut on costs. Let us save on whatever we can. And in that process, we have the best of service providers with us. Otherwise, a small entrepreneur who is largely a one-man army can never imagine that he would have an expert from the industry to come and give him. But it is only when we integrate these services, we integrate these service providers, I'm sure the solutions would be right in front of them. And also, as the government is trying to do its best in terms of infrastructure development. Without infrastructure development, Aatmnirbhar Bharat would be a dream. And we are very grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister, who has already started working on these things, whether it is the roadways, whether it is the what you call the riverways, or whether it is what he calls this internet and everything. See, the pandemic didn't allow us to come close to each other, but then everybody started sharing their ideas, sharing their thoughts, motivating people so that they come out of the difficult mindset by the webinars which we are holding. So that infrastructure needs to be developed further. And as Malhotra Sahab also said, once we start implementing all these things, attracting investments would not be a difficulty. Promoting consumption-led growth would never be a difficulty. When we have already beginning to hear that various countries are already prepared to invest in India. And Subhaji Malhotra Sahab knows that in my last year with NSIC, I could build relations with 4 similar organizations of 4 different countries: Russia, Malaysia, South Korea, Morocco. And talks were going on where Vietnam and Thailand were also interested to come forward, not because of NSIC. I never carry that wrong notion in my mind. They wanted to come forward and build relationships because of Indian MSMEs. And the sectors, defense, automobile, textile, pharmaceuticals. Sir, when we are so strong in all these, why would anybody not like to build synergies with us? But first, let us build synergies in our own country by bringing all the stakeholders together and evolving certain things which makes life of an MSME really easy. My opinion, Dr. Sharma, is we do not need very many new policies to be done. Let us start implementing the policies in the right earnest. You have a 3 lakh crore which has been given. You have a guarantee scheme which is already there. Let the small entrepreneur get that money which he badly needs. Let his receivables be given on time. Why does it require a finance minister or a MSME minister to say that you need to pay within 45 days? Malhotra Sahab was mentioning about the challenges which still remain despite the simplification of tendering processes. If you have a 200 crore tender available for an MSME, they would never be able to survive if those technicalities still remain, which that poor fellow can never comprehend. But I firmly believe, sir, that the best in India is still to come. It has only the initiatives of our Honorable Prime Minister have put us on that road where we will be progressing, and India's glorious days, as in the past, would not be stories for our children as they are stories for us. कि हिंदुस्तान कभी सोने की चिड़िया थी. I firmly believe that our children would be seeing what we heard, and I'm sure it would be making all of us proud. Malhotra Sahab would be more proud than he is today, because all these radical ideas which he has given, so they are realistic ideas, even if you call them radical ideas. So thank you very much for sharing them. Thank you, Subhaji, for all these 10 points of yours, and I'm sure they would be making sea changes in all those companies who would be implementing all of them. And thank you so much for sparing your time. And thank you, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, for again giving us an opportunity on a Sunday so that we can share and invite such champions of the industry to our programs. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think Malhotra Sahab, we lost his signal if he wishes to say a few words before we close down. And I've got 2 very important points for Subhashi to give later on. Okay, Malhotra sir. Sir, your mic, you have to unmute your mic, sir. You have to unmute your mic, sir. You have to unmute your mic, sir. Right, sir. By the time you are unmuting, no worries. No worries. Take your time, sir.
I'll just finish. I have to say one line, sir.
Please, sir.
हिंदी की बात सर ravindra nath जी एक बात कही थी. MSMEs, they have to find solutions. अभी क्या है कि हम लोग बहाने ढूंढते थे जी, और आत्मनिर्भर भारत हमको solutions ढूंढने हैं सर. Winter will be cold and summer will be hot. Solution is you get a heater, you get a cooler. हमारी अप्रोच जो है वो सॉल्यूशन ओरिएंटेड होनी है. दिस इज वन पॉइंट. सर एक बच्चन जी की कविता है, मैंने उसका पहला लाइन चेंज किया और वो फिट करती है आत्मनिर्भर भारत में. उन्होंने कहा था असफलता एक चुनौती है. सर मैंने कहता हूँ जी कि आत्मनिर्भरता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो. ये सभी एमएसएमई के लिए सर. क्या कमी रह गई है, देखो सुधार करो. जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को न त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष के मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम. कुछ किए बिना जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. सर आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए हम सबको कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी सर.
बहुत बढ़िया.
थैंक यू वेरी मच.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू सर. वेरी काइंड ऑफ यू. इट वाज सो वेरी काइंड ऑफ यू सर.
गुलशन जी,
हाँ जी प्लीज.
दोनों ने तो कपलेट सुना दिए, मैं एक आखिरी कपलेट सुना देता हूँ. ये लिए कि जिंदगी के रंग मंच पर कुछ अदाकारी ऐसी कर जाएं.
हाँ हाँ.
जिंदगी के रंग मंच पर कुछ अदाकारी ऐसी कर जाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहे.
वंडरफुल वंडरफुल.
दैट शुड बी देयर. थैंक यू सर. अब आप सर आगे ही रहिए और मेन उस पर रहिए. मैं आपको दो चीजें देना चाहूंगा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. ये जो पूरी वेबिनार सीरीज है ये अवेलेबल है यूट्यूब के ऊपर लाइव. Anybody can go on Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page and we can see because it is linked with the ICSI. 17th of September, today is 20th, sir. 3 days back, 17th of September, please tell your daughter-in-law to kindly see on the YouTube of Dr. Gulshan Sharma. On 17th of September, there was a speaker called Mayur Oswal. Mayur Oswal. He is a startup. He is the person जिसकी कंपनी का नाम है गमला. इस कंपनी का नाम है गमला, GAMLAA. ये स्टार्टअप है और गमला कंपनी हैदराबाद से ऑपरेट करती है. दिस मैन बाय प्रोफेशनल इज ए इंजीनियर फ्रॉम IIT. He got into ऑर्गेनिक प्लांटेशन और गूगल कभी 1 साल से सेकेंड ईयर सेम कंपनी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं देता. ये 6 साल से गूगल का कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है और इस आदमी ने गूगल के हेडक्वार्टर में फॉरेस्ट जोन डेवलप किया है जहां पर तितलियां उड़ती हैं और जो गूगल के कंपनी के गुरुग्राम में लोग काम कर रहे हैं वो गूगल के उस जगह में आकर बैठकर देखना चाहते हैं. आप इन्हें जरूर बर देखिए. इनकी वेबसाइट भी मैं आपको भेजूंगा. एंड हिज कंपनी इज दिस इज कॉल्ड गमला बायोस्केप्स. गमला बायोस्केप्स. एंड गमला जो है वो मेन अगर आप देखेंगे मयूर ओसवाल. इट वाज अ ट्रीट because Monday to Thursday we are getting startups and we are getting visionary, the younger generation जो 20-22 साल के 25 साल तक के बच्चे हैं. आप उन लोगों का विजन देखिए जिन्होंने कंपनी स्टार्टअप करी है. ऐसे ऐसे बच्चे आ रहे हैं और मैं इसलिए यंगस्टर्स को लेके आ रहा हूं उनके व्यूज को. और आपने अभी जो एक बात कही, वो मेरे बेटे ने जिस दिन लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ 25 मार्च को मुझे कहा कि डैड ये जो ओला और उबर की कैब्स हैं इन सब में ये फूड डिलीवरी क्यों नहीं शुरू हो जाती. एंड ही गेव मी द विजन दैट डे एंड द ओला स्टार्टेड. एक और चीज सर, ही टोल्ड मी जितने स्टेट हाईवे हैं और नेशनल हाईवे हैं कंट्री के, आपने दोनों तरफ प्लांटेशन करी हुई है, आपने इतनी सारी ग्रीनरी और पेड़ लगाए हुए हैं, आप इनकी जगह फ्रूट ट्रीज क्यों नहीं लगा देते. तो जब लॉकडाउन हुआ था और जो लोग पैदल चले थे वो आपसे कुछ ना मांगते, वहीं से फ्रूट तोड़ते, रास्ते में खाते और अपने घर पहुंच जाते. Why are we having different kind of a plantation? हमने अपने घरों में इतनी तरह की और चीजें लगा रखी हैं जिनका कोई मतलब नहीं है. Why not to have an organic plantation? 25 मार्च से लेके अब तक मैंने ऑर्गेनिक जो प्लांटेशन घर में की है मेरे पास अगले 1 महीने की सब्जी खुद की अपनी है, मुझे कहीं से कोई सब्जी नहीं लेके आनी। सो व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग सर, जो बच्चा इलेक्ट्रिशियन का कोर्स करता है या प्लम्बर का कोर्स करता है, अगर उसे नल ठीक करना नहीं आता और बिजली का बल्ब चेंज करना नहीं ठीक आता, तो उस पॉलिटेक्निक के अंदर या आईटीआई में उस कोर्स करने का मतलब क्या है? So thereby, I think that education has got a purpose. Education has to be linked with day-to-day life. Education has to be lived with reality. मैं 5 बच्चियों को रोज लेके आता हूँ, मंडे, ट्यूसडे, वेंसडे, थर्सडे, और उन्हें आप सुनिए, वो पानी के ऊपर बातचीत करती है कि पानी कैसे बचाना है, कि पानी की एक-एक बूंद कैसे बचानी है। Sir, the education has, unless it doesn't come in our day-to-day life, education is not realistic, it is theoretical, and we don't want degrees and diplomas and certificates only. Education has to be a part of day-to-day life. And Malhotra साहब ने जितने भी changes बताए और आपने जो 10 points दिए, I would make a humble request to you, sir, कि आप डालिए, हम YouTube पे पूरे वर्ल्ड के साथ शेयर करेंगे, क्योंकि मुझे लोग कह रहे हैं कि बिकॉज द थिंग इज स्पेनिश पीपल आर आल्सो देयर, फ्रेंच पीपल आर आल्सो देयर, जो लैटिन अमेरिका है उसमें स्पेनिश बोलते हैं, तो उन्हें कई बार अंग्रेजी के कुछ एक शब्द डायरेक्टली वैसे नहीं मिल पाते। तो अगर आप मुझे वो 10 पॉइंट लिख के भेज देंगे, तो आई विल शेयर विद द एंटायर लैटिन अमेरिका एंड दे ऑल विल बी बेनिफिटेड। लेट द एंटायर ह्यूमैनिटी बी बेनिफिटेड द बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे। मुझे बहुत इस बात का दुख होता है कि हमारे यहाँ से बहुत सारी नॉलेज ग्रेवयार्ड में चली गई, लोगों ने उसको शेयर नहीं किया। जो आयुर्वेदिस्ट थे, कुछ एक आयुर्वेदिस्ट ऐसे थे कि आपके यूरिन को सूर्य की रोशनी में देख के बता देते थे कि आपको क्या बीमारी है। वो आयुर्वेदिस्ट कौन थे कि जो नारी की नाड़ी तो नहीं देखते थे, वहां से एक रस्सी बांध के यहां देख के उस रस्सी को पकड़ के बता देते थे कि इस महिला को ये प्रॉब्लम है। लेकिन मोस्ट अनफॉर्चुनेट सर, उन्होंने अपनी नॉलेज को किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं किया और वो अपने साथ ही ले गए। द नॉलेज विच गोज टू ग्रेवयार्ड, इट्स ऑफ नो यूज। Whatsoever books I am reading, whatsoever wisdom I am gaining, it is of no use if I don't share with the humanity. The knowledge is to be shared with the humanity. And today the technology has made, मैं कुछ लोगों को कभी मिल ही नहीं पाता जिंदगी में, अगर ये टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से आज मैं जब बाहर पढ़ाने जाता हूं और पढ़ाता हूं, I become a humble student over there and I try and learn from everybody कि कुछ तो होगा कि इन्होंने इतने सालों साल लोगों ने रूल किया। एक सिंधी है सिंगापुर के अंदर, उसकी किताब को जरूर पढ़िएगा, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा। उसकी लेटेस्ट किताब है वेस्ट नाउ यू रेस्ट। किताब का नाम है वेस्ट नाउ यू रेस्ट। 19th century belonged to Europe, 20th century belonged to USA, 21st century belongs to Asia. If we do not make optimum use of all of us, मुझे कोई दुख नहीं है कि बच्चे बाहर पढ़ने ना जाएं, लेकिन भैया सिंगापुर पढ़ने चले जाओ, तुम्हें जरूर कनाडा जाना है, तुम्हें जरूर अमेरिका जाना है। और सर, किसी दिन बैठ के आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा कि कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में क्या चल रहा है। एंड कैन यू बिलीव इट, 1.6 बिलियन बच्चों ने बैंक लोन ले रखा है अमेरिका में। हायर एजुकेशन, जो यूनिवर्सिटी एजुकेशन है, उनको इससे कुछ नहीं लेना देना कि कोरोना क्या कर रहा है। उनको यह है कि यूनिवर्सिटी को कितनी जल्दी खोले तो कम से कम हमारी इनकम वापस आए, हमारे पैसे वापस आए। द थिंग इज सर, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज देयर। एक वीडियो है यूट्यूब पे, जरूर देखिएगा, एजुकेशन नाइटमेयर। बस एक वीडियो है 21 मिनट की, एजुकेशन नाइटमेयर, और उसके बाद आपको समझ आ जाएगी कि एजुकेशन की फ्रेटर्निटी क्या सोच रही है और क्या चल रहा है। My humble request, my deep thanks to my dignitaries this evening. There was so much to learn from Malhotra sir. There was so much to learn from Subhash ji. It was such a pleasure because so much you have given this evening, so much of wisdom, knowledge, experience, and your life journey you have shared with all of us. Let this journey travel Let this experience travel to the entire universe. Ravindra Nath ji is the Sutradhar, he is the Chanakya of the MSME. He is the person who has to weave in and he has to bring the speakers of his own choice. And this humble journey, मुझे उर्दू अच्छे से नहीं आती है, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानबे मंजिर, लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. तो लोग जुड़ते जाएंगे. मैं बुद्धिज्म भी सीख रहा हूं, मैं उपनिषद भी सीख रहा हूं, मैं विवेकानंद भी सीख रहा हूं, मैं स्टार्टअप्स को भी मिल रहा हूं और मैं आप जैसे महानुभाव को भी मिल रहा हूं. आप सब लोगों से सीखने का 70 साल में आई वांट टू बी अ वेरी वेरी हम्बल स्टूडेंट एंड आई प्रे टू ऑलमाइटी. अगर खुदा के पास, क्योंकि कोई भी यहाँ परमानेंट नहीं है, जाना तो है, हम सब क्यू में है, लेकिन अगर जाने का कहीं मौका अब्दुल कलाम जी की तरह मिल जाए कि आप बोलते बोलते पोडियम पे ही चुपचाप नीचे बैठ के उसके पास वापस चले जाएं जहां से आए हैं, तो इससे अच्छी यात्रा नहीं है. I think he was a very noble and a very pious soul. He went while addressing in IIM Shillong. People adore him. And just imagine. So thereby, sir, let the entire universe be benefited by all of us. और डी के बख्शी जी मेरे छोटे भाई की तरह, मैं उन्हें बहुत प्यार करता हूं. वो हमेशा मेरे साथ खड़े होते हैं. उन्होंने आपकी बहुत तारीफ करी और मल्होत्रा जी के बारे में मुझे रविंद्र नाथ जी ने बहुत कुछ बताया. आज रूबरू आप लोगों से मिलने का साक्षात मुझे मौका मिला. मैं सादर प्रणाम करता हूं आपको और आपको बहुत बहुत नमन करता हूं. और मैं आपसे परमात्मा के यही दुआ चाहता हूं कि आप लोग स्वस्थ रहें, आप लोग ठीक रहें और अपनी नॉलेज और अपने विजडम को पूरे यूनिवर्स के साथ बार बार आप लोग शेयर करते रहें. इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ हम आज का ये वेबिनार खत्म करते हैं. World over, the people who could not understand what all I spoke in Hindi, it was basically I was paying my respect to these legends and these celebrities of the evening. Films, what you see, the media entertainment, what you see, I do not want to discuss about media entertainment today. You all know what all is going on in media entertainment. These are the real celebrities and they are the actual celebrities. Those came this evening. So this is a golden triangle. I salute them. My salutations and regards and gratitudes to all of them. Wish you all a great evening, wonderful evening. Pranam aapko, namaskar aapko, and ladies and gentlemen, look forward meeting you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time for yet another very powerful evening with another speaker tomorrow evening. Namaskar, pranam.